Could your diet be secretly destroying your trading performance? You might think that your mental problems in trading stem from a lack of discipline, willpower, focus, but no one ever talks about the driver behind these things. Imagine if the answer you've been looking for was in front of you the entire time, not on the charts, but right on your plate. So in today's video, I'll be sharing an interesting story about how changing my eating habits actually resulted in increasing my trading performance by reducing emotional decision making, emotional hijacks, and impulsive decisions in my trading. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video, straight into the story, man. So it all began in 2022, about a year and a half into my trading journey. And I was at a point in my trading where I came to a realization that I was making this same repeated mistake at a certain time of the day. You see, I came to the profound awareness that around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I would literally have the craziest energy crash that you can think of. Like, I could be studying trading, learning trading, I could even be in trades. And around 3 p.m, I would literally just knock out right on my desk. I'll just fall asleep. But the worst thing about this was after my 30-minute, an hour, or an hour and a half nap, I would wake up feeling so groggy and so like I would feel like a zombie. And it was pissing me off low key, because when you nap, when you have a little rest, you're supposed to wake up feeling more energized. But I was having these crashes every day around 3 p.m. and I was waking up feeling like shit. My whole day would be ruined. I wouldn't be able to do anything because I couldn't think properly. I couldn't, like, everything was just messed up. So it wasn't until I looked at my trading journal on Notion that I realized a lot of the times where I was FOMOing, a lot of the times where I was revenge trading, breaking rules, tilting, a lot of it came after 3 p.m. So after I noticed this, I noticed in my journal that I was writing that every time that I was tired, that I lacked willpower, I lacked, awareness of myself and of myself breaking rules. And it made perfect sense, because when you're tired, it's like all your willpower, all your self-awareness is just gone. So my number one desire from that realization, and my number one goal in trading and in everything in life at that moment when I realized that, was to remove these energy crashes at 3 p.m. So at first, I had some recommendations to try green matcha tea, try coffee. I tried both of those things for months as well. Didn't work. There's not been one time I've drank coffee and felt energized. That shit does not work, for me at least. So those two things didn't work. So I went deeper down the self-development rabbit hole. Ended up finding myself on Andrew Huberman's podcast channel. Was watching his podcasts, everything to do with energy, optimizing productivity, optimizing focus. I was doing everything he recommended, man. The 20-minute observing sunlight as soon as you wake up, before, 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed, dimming the lights, making sure you have warm lights, minimal blue light as possible. I was doing that. I was already doing cold showers. I was exercising in the morning. I woke up early. I had my 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I was doing everything, man, and nothing was working. Nothing was working. So one point, there was this one trading day where I just broke my rules. Most likely it was FOMO or some dumb shit like that. And I was so pissed off that I literally wanted to punish myself. Like, the pain of making the same mistakes got to a point where I was like, fuck this. Like, I need to discipline myself. I need to show my brain or show myself that there's consequences if I continue making these mistakes. Because back then I was a very hardcore kind of hustle, grind, discipline, fucking mentality. where if I made a mistake or if I slipped up, I would punish myself. I would beat myself up. I would self-condemn. So this literally led to me searching up on YouTube how to discipline myself, how to punish myself. And I know that sounds crazy, that sounds tapped. But after searching that up, the first things that came up were stoicism videos, and specifically voluntary discomfort, where you're doing things voluntarily uncomfortable to discipline yourself. So the three main things that popped up were cold showers, which I was already doing, sleeping on the floor, which I actually tried. And that was one of the worst nights of my life. What? That shit was terrible. And the last thing was fasting. So after I saw those three things and I, was already doing cold showers, weren't working, I slept on the floor for a night and that was fucking terrible. I woke up the next day feeling like shit, like I couldn't do nothing. I felt like a zombie, fam. And the third thing, dry fasting. So the following Sunday, I said to myself, I'm going to do a dry fast where I don't consume any food, any water, no drink, nothing, to punish myself for breaking my rules, making the same mistakes again. So the Sunday came up now, and of course it was very challenging because this was the first time in my life where I didn't drink, I didn't eat for the whole day. I was just hearing my stomach go crazy, like there was a rave going on inside there, like. But the crazy thing that happened on Sunday that literally changed my whole perspective and changed my life from that moment was, this was the first time in about 3, 4, 5 years that I didn't crash around 3 p.m. So when I noticed this, I started to make the connection and the link between food, what I was eating, and my energy levels. And this was profound because this then led to a further deep dive into the relationship between food and your energy levels. So I noted this down. All right, so clearly it's something to do with how I'm eating or what I'm eating is affecting my energy levels. So, the beautiful thing about the universe is that once you set out a desire or you send out like a question that you kind of leave unanswered, but it's going to be answered. It's like the universe just starts sending you answers and starts sending you solutions to what you're looking for, in the form of books, in the form of YouTube videos, in the form of conversations, random conversations with people. So I set out that, desire to find out exactly like how my eating's affecting my energy levels. And a couple months later down the line, the way the universe works, man, all of a sudden on my YouTube feed, I started to see videos from Dr. Yaki Awakened and Dr. Bobby Price. Shout out to those two brothers. Changed my life for real. But I started watching their videos, which were lectures, an hour long. I mean, for Dr. Yaki, it was an hour long. Dr. Bobby Price were a bit shorter videos. And these brothers were talking about, food, biology, the connection between them, and how a lot of the root of a lot of diseases and a lot of physical ailments, mental ailments are, stemmed from what you consume, what you eat. So I was like, damn, like they were literally describing everything I was experiencing, like acne, the midday crashes, feeling bloated, feeling sluggish. They were describing so many symptoms I had and telling me that the cause of it was the food I was eating. Then I started to introspect and notice, they were right. Like every time I consumed dairy, like there was spots pop up. I'd literally eat a couple custard creams, and the next day I'd look in the mirror, there'd be spots on my face, like. So I started to develop this, this deep awareness of the foods I was eating and the reaction and the effect on my body. So for a couple more months, I started every single day before I went to bed, I was watching a Dr. Yaki lecture, Dr. Bobby Price videos, and really educating myself on food, on biology, how the body works, and how naturally as humans, and I'm not going to say humans because it's not everyone, but specifically for melanated people like myself, African, etc., you know, we're naturally designed to be frugivores, to consume fruits, plants, etc. So that's what I learned. And from looking at my own experience and the foods I was eating and how it was reacting to my body and the symptoms I was having, it made sense. So this was around the end of 2023. And in December, I decided that, you know what, I want to go plant-based. Like, it's clear to see how the foods I was eating were affecting my energy levels, which was affecting my trading performance. And that was a big pain point for me at the time because, you know, I'm trying to trade the best I can be. And if every time I'm falling asleep or every time my energy levels are dropping, I'm more susceptible to emotional hijacks, I'm more susceptible to impulsive decision making. I want to get rid of those, you know, as quick as possible. So at that point, I'm thinking I'm willing to do whatever it takes to just improve in trading. So the first week of January 2024, I started researching, looking at different meal preps and stuff. But in the second week of January, I decided, cool, I'm going to do a cucumber fast for this first week, almost like to transition into plant-based eating. Because up to that point, I was eating any and everything. You feel me? So that second week of January, in 2024, I said I'm going to do a cucumber fast. And I will also intermittent fast, so I won't be eating breakfast. This was the first time in my whole life I wasn't eating before 12 p.m. Noon. So the first day, I'm not gonna lie, I slipped up. I folded, not gonna lie. But it wasn't folded in terms of, you know, I didn't stick to the intermittent fasting. What I done was I intermittent fasted till 1 p.m. I broke my fast with half a cucumber. Then 2 hours later, I ate the other half of the cucumber. But then the way I slipped up was I ate dinner. I ate my mum's chicken, rice, all of that, you feel me? And from that first day I slipped up, I said, you know what? I might be jumping in too quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2/3 of the day where I'm just consuming cucumber, intermittent fasting, and I'll eat whatever my mum makes for dinner. So I done that. And something crazy happened. Again, I noticed that this entire week that I was plant-based for 2/3 of the day and then I would eat dinner, meat, whatever. I noticed that this entire week there was no energy crashes at 3 p.m. I had energy. I was so aware. I was so alive. I was like, shit. This is what I've been looking for like a year. This was literally gonna stop this pain point that I've had for 5+ years of just falling asleep around 3 p.m. every day and fucking up my trading as a result. So from that first transition week, I was like, yeah, this is the decision I'm gonna make. The next week of January, on January the 14th, 2024, transitioned fully into being plant-based. And now, time recording this, it's early March 2026. Over 2 years now, I've been plant-based. Strictly eating plants, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, grains, and yeah. Ever since I've been plant-based, and the key thing is that the energy crashes disappeared. No more 3 p.m. midday crashes. I'm not gonna lie, I have had many crashes since going plant-based, but I always came from one of two things. It was either I was eating out of alignment with my body, still eating plants of course, but the food just didn't resonate with me, or eating too much. Because when you eat too much, all the food that's in your digestive system literally pulls all the blood away from your entire body, especially if you eat too much. That's why you often feel sluggish and tired, and you just want to fall asleep. You just want to knock out after you've eaten a lot of food, because your digestive system is literally pulling blood away from your entire body, and specifically and most importantly, your brain is pulling blood, is pulling oxygen away from your brain, which is why it's hard to think, it's hard to be, you know, decisive and make decisions. So those are the only two reasons why I've still had crashes here and there. But For the most part, my energy levels ever since transitioning have been, I can't even describe the difference. It's just night and day. Like I have energy all throughout the day from the time I wake up, which is around 5 a.m. all the way to 7 p.m. And that's when I start to feel a little bit tired, just naturally my circadian rhythm. But the whole point of this story and the whole point of this video is not to convince you that plant-based eating is the answer and that you should be plant-based. I'm not one of them toxic vegan niggas. I don't even consider myself as vegan because I don't eat plant-based for animals. I eat plant-based for health. But the point is that, you know, plant-based is not the best diet. The best diet isn't vegan, it's not vegetarian, it's not carnivore, it's not pescatarian, it's not Mediterranean, it's not keto. The best diet is the diet by design. The best diet, the best food that you can eat is the food that resonates with your body, no matter what that is. So I propose to you to ask yourself, like, what foods resonate with you best? Because because food is fuel for the vehicle that you're in. And when I say vehicle, I'm talking about this vessel that you're in. Food is your fuel. And I like to think, or I believe that the body is the greatest machine ever made. So if you think about, you know, supercars, what do they require? They require premium fuel. You can't put in the standard fuel into supercars or else they'll break down. So you really got to think about what you're consuming and how often you're consuming and when you're consuming. For me, I found, you know, even before being fully plant-based, I found that intermittent fasting was a great way of maintaining energy throughout the morning, not consuming anything in the morning. I had great clarity, great focus, great energy by just not eating while still eating meat, you know, for dinner. But then when I fully transitioned and fully started to align my entire body with foods that resonated with me, started, you know, eating more fruits and more hydrating foods and not feeling sluggish after I ate, most importantly. That's when everything changed, man. My energy went up, my health improved, I was no longer getting spots, acne, my muscle recovery from training was significantly increased. That was way faster. I had way less DOMs, sleep was better, cognition was better, my clarity, my focus, everything was better. And I'm not gonna say or put this down to just being plant-based. Yeah, for me, yeah, plant-based, but for you, it's just simply the food that resonates best with you, man. So start being more attentive and aware of what foods cause you to increase in energy or decrease in energy. Like really assess and track what foods and when you eat and how it affects your body, how it affects your mind, your focus, your clarity, your energy, your arousal levels, which are just your energy levels in a sports term. But really, man, because we're in a game where 90% of people fail in trading. So even just knowing how these external factors influence your trading, that adds to your edge. You know, the edge isn't just on the charts and on the markets and your strategy. The edge is also you. You are the edge. So finding these small things that you would think are small but are really major that can positively impact your trading performance are game changing. As I said at the start of this video, changing my eating habits changed my trading. It improved my trading drastically. And it can do the same for you. You don't have to be plant-based. You can eat however you want to eat. As long as it aligns and it resonates with your body and your body loves it and your body thrives off the food that you're consuming. Because your body is a vehicle and the food that you consume is fuel. So as long as that fuel aligns with your supercar, then you'll be driving fast, man. Your trading will be your trading will be patterned. But yeah, man, like I even have a note on my phone, I believe it's called File on Self, where I document all these different foods I've eaten, the quantity of it and how it's affected my body. And that really, really improves your awareness of what you eat and how it affects your body. Like, as a trader, you're already way more self-aware than 90% of the population just because of how demanding trading is on, you know, your awareness, your mindfulness, your emotions, and how you have to be sharp 24s, or you can't afford to slip up in trading when it comes to being aware of yourself. So you're already self-aware, but when you bring that self-awareness to then what you're eating as well, like it takes you to a different level. Because as soon as you notice foods that are messing up your energy, messing up your performance, you can cut them out, and then you'll start to see, raw, like I'm not getting emotionally hijacked as much, or I'm not feeling as tired as much. And then, you know, you feel me? Because when I was feeling tired, like I also struggled with identifying opportunities. Like after the trading session, I would look at the charts and I'd be like, this was such an easy A+ setup to take. Why could I not see it in the moment? And it's literally because I was tired. Couldn't see it. So that's a great thing about trading, man. It's like you experience these things in the markets, or you experience pain, and then it causes you to introspect and find out the cause of it. But it's so beautiful how like documenting food and like trading is so similar, because in trading, you know, you trade, you test, you experiment, you collect data, and then you analyze that data and refine, iterate. It's the same thing with food as well, man. Like you eat food, you experiment, try different foods, you see how it reacts to your body, and then you document, you collect that data, and then you refine, iterate, and then improve like your diet, your eating habits. So it's so beautiful how they're very similar, man. Like everything in life is holistic at the end of the day. But again, man, the whole point of this video was just to cause you to introspect and to think, like, is what you're eating right now, is that optimized for your trading? Does it resonate with you? Does it optimize your energy levels? Do you feel amazing after you eat? Do you feel sluggish, tired, fatigued? Do you feel like you're mentally straining whilst you're trading? If you experience any of those things, man, your diet could literally be the answer to it. So, you know, I propose you look into that, dive into that, experiment, do some research, look into, you know, your ancestors, what they ate, look into, you know, your geographical location and what foods are naturally being grown around you and stuff like that. But this is something I don't see talked about at all, you know, how food impacts your trading performance. So I hope this video helps. I hope you gain some insights that you can apply, because this is something you can go and apply right now. You can think about it right now. You can, you know, you feel me? That's the whole point of this channel, and even why I'm making these videos, is to provide practical and useful information that you can use to maximize your performance and reduce the emotional hijacks that happen in trading. That's all I'm here for. You feel me? Because I believe that if you want to scale in trading, if you want to trade your best, if you want to, you know, go full time and have trading as your career, then you literally have to at first master your emotions. And the way you master your emotions is, of course, by doing all of the subconscious deep inner work and stuff, but by just having self-awareness, like how all these different external factors can impact your trading. So hope this video helps, man, and really look at that plate that you have. Look at your plate, man. Feel me?